Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories.
My 31, 3 common kids, wife, 30, of 7 years separated, then had affairs. Now some childhood trauma came up and I don't know how I can, or if I even should, get rid of the hope of reconciliation. Advice: I'll cut to the chase and say that my wife, 30, and I, 31, have been living apart for around 1.5 years, married for 7 years. Because of our 3 children, we spent the first year in the same home, currently living with me, but the new agreement will be 3 and 4 days in alternation with each of us parents. Prior to the separation, there was a marital crisis, as well as some serious bedroom issues, which we attempted to resolve with professional assistance, but she was most likely already disinterested by this point. We used to see one another on a regular basis and communicate a lot before the new arrangement. Fortunately, she has lately recalled that she had a very painful incident as a youngster, which was most likely precipitated by the marital problem. There are also connections between what transpired and what is happening now. She has already scheduled an appointment with a psychologist to talk about this and other unresolved issues she is experiencing. Since she moved out, she has already had multiple relationships since, in her eyes, the marriage is merely a legal document anymore and thus doesn't exist in reality. She too is more or less searching for something new, although she isn't really sure what she is looking for at this point. I was really prepared to learn about divorce procedures before the childhood trauma came to light, since I had come to the conclusion that there was no hope. Now that I am aware of the trauma, I am not so sure about it anymore. I have a glimmer of optimism that, via the psychological counseling sessions that are scheduled, she will be able to process all of the troubles and grief from the period before me, as well as what occurred during the crisis, and then potentially envisage returning. I understand that the chances of this happening are incredibly slim, and that it would probably be better for me to just make the cut, but I can't seem to let her go so easily now that I have this newfound information. Her reasonable reason for not wanting to do it again is a lack of faith in the process, and a concern that it may revert to its previous pattern after a certain period of time has passed. I'm in a bad way emotionally right now, and I'm also terrified of the choices I'll have to make and accept in the future. I believe I need the assistance of a third party with an impartial point of view. If anybody has any suggestions about how I might shift my perspective such that I no longer see hope, I would really appreciate it. Update. It has been quite some time since my previous post. A brief recap. Previously, wife had moved out, but had met, and had sexual relations with, other men during that time period. Due to new results, childhood traumatic stress disorder, for which she now wants to seek treatment in therapy, I wasn't sure if she was truly doing it, so I wasn't sure whether I should hold out hope or give up. Since then, I've tried to reduce communication to a bare minimum and only speak about issues that are relevant to the children. As a result, we maintained a high level of communication, which was particularly important given the forthcoming birthday celebration for one of our children. I felt better, but I couldn't shake the negative feelings I had about what she does or doesn't do in her relationships with guys. During our most recent talk, she told me that she would not meet any other guys in the future because she does not want to and because she needs to figure out what she truly wants first and foremost. I was certain that she did it nonetheless, but I had no evidence. Then there was my child's birthday to celebrate. We were with the rest of the family, and she was, of course, there as well. For me, it was quite strange, and I felt extremely uncomfortable as she did one on living a great life and spoke to me as if she were a friend, when everything was in shambles. I had the impression that something was strange as well. The children's birthday celebration was scheduled for the next day. I contacted her first thing in the morning and informed her that I felt it would be best if she didn't show up after all, the kids were with me that day anyway. I explained why she couldn't come, but she persisted. The celebration was going well, and the children were having a good time. But I couldn't help myself, and it occurred anyhow. After a while, I couldn't take it any longer, so I checked her cell phone and read the messages that she was, of course, seeing 1 or 2 men, and that they were also coming to her house and spending the night. I must say, however, that I had previously stated that I did not want my children to sleep in the same bed where she was doing things with men. She agreed with me and said that she did not want it to happen as well. When she didn't leave the party, I was furious and urged her to go. When she inquired as to the reason, I informed her that I had read her texts. After then, things started to get a little heated. She was upset with me because I had violated her right to privacy. I didn't give a damn, I just told her how she could be so dishonest and that she needed to go. I informed her that I had no desire to see her again. In an attempt to defend herself, she used phrases such as "I tried not to meet him again, but I'm just human and weak," and blah blah blah. During the discussion, things got a little heated, but she eventually departed. Later, I received a message from her in which she acknowledged to having sexual relations with males and said that she would continue to meet with the one. She said that she doesn't give a crap about me anymore and that she doesn't care about my sentiments anymore. She exclaimed about how wonderful the sex is and how she experiences orgasms. She literally wrote that. She also wants to file a complaint against me for invading her privacy. She believes I hacked her phone or installed some program, although I still had a fingerprint registered, and claims I provoked her by acting inappropriately. This was the sentence that sealed the deal for me. I've scheduled an appointment with a lawyer and will file for divorce as soon as possible. The statement regarding sex, on the other hand, really bothers me. My confidence was shattered despite the fact that she wrote it in an attempt to damage me out of vengeance. Our sex life was usually decent, but nothing particularly noteworthy. My relationship with her was her first, and she had always been somewhat reticent about discovering her own sexual passion, although she had said before that she enjoyed her experience. I am also concerned that it will now result in an unpleasant divorce and that the situation will deteriorate into a rose war. In addition, there is the matter of the children and the reality that they would someday see their mother with a different guy. I had a talk with my daughter, who is close to 10 years old, the other day about how she doesn't want to be with her mother because she feels uncomfortable there. She was depressed because she wished her mother had returned to the house. I attempted to explain to her why this is not going to happen. She seemed to be understanding. I explained to her that it had nothing to do with the children, that her mother still loved her, and that I adored her beyond all else, and would always be there for her no matter what. I'm not sure how much information I can share with my kid. Something along the lines of "she's dating other guys" strikes me as being pretty incorrect. My fears for the future and how I will feel are also quite real for me right now. What my children will be like, how long it will take me to get over my ex-wife, and so on. I'm also unsure of what to anticipate from the article as a whole. Most likely, I only need some encouraging comments in regards to the 4 paragraphs. Story 2. Is my boyfriend gaslighting me about emotional cheating? For the last year and a half, myself, F26, and my boyfriend, M25, have been in a relationship. Everything seemed okay at first. Until he said that he had never been in a meaningful relationship, and that he had never really loved any of his girlfriends, and that he just changed them periodically when he became bored. This made me feel quite uneasy. He also follows a large number of skimpy ladies on social media platforms such as Instagram and Snapchat, which does not help. In the end, I discovered that he had lied about the regularly changing girlfriends since he really had very few. We discussed the possibility of moving in together at his parents' house, and he agreed that he wanted me to move in and live together with all of them. Then, all of a sudden, he altered his mind and became quite bizarre. He would neglect me, suddenly decided he didn't want to see me as regularly anymore, and would get drunk more often. When I inquired about moving in, he informed me that he preferred to live alone, and that he did not want to see me on a regular basis since I was causing him irritation. He has already found a place to call home. Insecurities got the better of me, I know it's terrible, and I decided to eavesdrop. May of the year 2021, it was discovered that he had been sending seductive texts to his ex-girlfriend, telling her that he wanted to f*ck her so badly, and so on. I went up to him and addressed him. His explanation was that she wanted him back, since he had cheated on her, and that she was insane. I believed him, which resulted in the loss of a great deal of trust in the relationship. However, I have faith in his ability to refrain from physically cheating on me. When he discovered that I had snooped through his phone, he became quite enraged, totally disregarding the fact that he was the one who had sexted her. The story continues, and he changes his mind about moving in again, and we both move in together, and everything is wonderful. Until now, that is. Because I use his computer to play video games, and because his mail usually opens up automatically, he received an email informing him that he had paid €40 to a young lady. That girl is an influencer, and she sells nudes, among other things. Which I am well aware of. In response, I confronted him, and he admitted that he had purchased the nudes from her, but that he had immediately deleted her nudes in her Snap, and that he had purchased them to see if you would look in my email because he knew you were looking. He also stated that the reason he purchased them was because he knew you would look and be angry, and that the reason he purchased them was to see if you were really looking at my email. What am I thinking about this? I genuinely like him, and I'd want to build a future with him, but this entire situation makes me feel depressed.